You've probably seen these seed planters all over Super Mario Odyssey. You go find a seed, you toss it in the pot, and you see a little plant start to sprout there. Now what you don't know is that these seeds hold a secret that can provide you your sweet, sweet power moon from inside instantly. And today I'm going to show you how to bust that secret wide open. Let's get started. So these seed pots provide a power moon when they're fully bloomed. The seeds begin growing as soon as you plant them, and they will take 20 real-time minutes to grow. There's even one pot in the game in Seaside that grows much taller than all the rest, and it takes closer to an hour. Now, you could always go do other things while you wait, but that's a long time. You might have to leave for work soon, or maybe you don't want to miss your favorite streamer who's about to come online. You don't have the time to wait. Now, if you're in the Seaside Kingdom and you want to help a seed grow faster, you can actually go and capture one of the Gushins and bring him over to the flower pots. And if you spray water on the flowers, they'll actually begin growing right before your eyes. That seems pretty fast, right? Well, I'm going to show you a way that's even faster than this, and you can do it with any seed, not just the Seaside ones. Now, the way the game tracks the seed's growth is actually not through anything inside the game itself. The game checks the Nintendo Switch settings clock to determine the passing of time. You can find it by going into your system settings, scrolling down here to system, then choosing date and time. Most people will have their Switch set to sync automatically via the internet so that it is accurate with their time zone at all times. If you uncheck the sync button, it'll let you set your time manually. Like mentioned before, these seeds take 20 real-time minutes to grow, so let's just go ahead and move the clock forward a whole hour here. Hit OK, and back out to the menu again. Now let's see what happens if we return back to the game. And look at that, the seed is growing right before our eyes. So because we're just standing here, the seed still has to go through its entire growing animation. And I've gone and grabbed another seed here, and I'll plant it in this pot here. Now watch what happens if we go into this nearby pipe. While I'm in here, I'll come out to my Switch settings again, and I'll set the time forward another hour. And I'll come back into the game, and now we're going to leave this pipe. And if we come back over to this plant, you can see that it has already finished growing completely. No growth animation. The moon is ready for us right now. So that's pretty cool, right? We can make these seeds grow instantly. So you might be thinking, well, Danger's going into the menu to change the time is really, really slow. How can this be useful for speedruns? Well, there's one quirk to this mechanic I'd like to share with you, and it has to do with daylight savings time. One day a year in most parts of the world, everyone intentionally sets their clock forward an entire hour from 2 a.m. to 3 a.m. Most computer systems have this programmed directly into their clocks, and the Switch is one of those examples. So in this third pot, we're going to plant this final seed that I've found. We're going to set our clock to a very particular time this time. Daylight savings happened on March 8th in 2020, so we will set our day to that and set our clock to 1:59 a.m. We got to make sure our time zone is set to a place where daylight savings time happens also. So this date, it could be different in different parts of the world, and the exact day can vary by the year. So make sure you double check what day works for your time zone. Now we'll hit OK, come back into the game, and plant this seed. Like I mentioned before, this is supposed to take 20 minutes, but when daylight savings time happens, the internal clock is going to jump directly from 1:59 a.m. to 3 a.m. in one single minute. So let's see if that affects our seed any. Now, I've decided not to speed up or skip any part of this video to prove that it's real, prove that it's real time. We're just waiting for the seed to grow. So I guess I'll take this moment to remind you guys to subscribe if you haven't already. It updates you when other videos like this one go live, and it helps out the channel a ton. And it lets me keep putting out videos just like this one. Just a little longer now. And suddenly, just like that, there it goes. This trick is known as Daylight Savings Time Abuse, or DSTA. You can see that it still requires going into the menu. So what speedrunners do is they calculate the time it takes to get to this very first seed pot in their speedrun and set their Switch clock accordingly before the run begins. So I'm going to show you how to set that up for yourself. First off, some speedrun categories use DSTA differently, and some don't use it at all. So I'm only going to run you through the most common one today, and that's any percent. Now this trick is pretty easy to do, but it does require two major things. First, you have to have done some speedruns before. That's because the timing is going to be a little different for everyone depending on how fast you are. Now the second thing you need is consistency. If we're setting our clock in advance, it means that we need to play all of Cap Kingdom and all of Cascade Kingdom basically the same every single time. There is a little leeway, and we'll talk about that in a moment, but if you're finishing the first two kingdoms at wildly different times between each of your runs, you might miss your window sometimes. So, to figure out what you need to do, let's look at an example of how it would work in a speedrun. Top runners like Tyrone18 have refined movement and do tough time-saving tricks in their runs, so their cap finish time is around 2:17, and their Cascade exit time is around 5:20. It takes about 50 seconds from the end of Cascade to the time you plant the seed, so Tyrone will plant the seed around 6:10. And he makes his way to collecting some other moons, and eventually he comes out of this pipe at around 6:35. Now if we go back to the start of his run, you can see he sets his switch clock to 1:53 a.m. and waits about 28 seconds, meaning his seed will begin to grow in 6 minutes and 32 seconds after starting the run, which fits perfectly into his window. Now you're going to want to set your switch time closer to the time coming out of the pipe. That way, if you make any small mistakes along the way, you'll be less likely to miss your window. If the time offset is too close to the seed planting, you'll have less room to make mistakes, and you might miss it. As you can tell, it's quite easy to get Mario to the seed planters from the beginning of the Sand Kingdom, so the most important part to consider is what time you finish the Cascade Kingdom at. I've created a chart here that you can use to find out what you'd set your timer to for your own runs. Now, based on the finish time of your Cascade in your personal best speedrun, use these offsets in your live split timer to ensure making it to the seed on time. If your personal best had a really good Cascade for your skill level, maybe consider moving down a tier for added safety. And if it takes you longer than 6 minutes to finish Cascade, I'd advise working on your movement skills a little more before attempting this trick. There are better and more consistent ways to save time at that skill level than using this trick. Now, creating an offset on Live Split is pretty easy. We're gonna open up Live Split here, and just right-click on your splits and go to Edit Splits. There's a box for where to start the timer. So erase everything here, type a minus, and follow it by the amount of seconds you want to offset by. Now, when we start our run, you should start your timer when you press OK in the switch clock menu to confirm your time change, and then quickly navigate back to the game, and be prepared to press A to start the Odyssey file when your timer climbs up to 0. And that's all there is to it. Just like that, you can grow seeds in Odyssey magically with a little behind-the-scenes tricks. If you liked this video, there are more on this channel to help you become a better speedrunner, so make sure to hit that subscribe button. If you have any other speedrunning questions, come visit us at my Twitch stream. There's a link to that in the description below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.